So it's now been around about a week since the garden update came out. Now, including myself, I feel like a lot of players have just dropped everything for this update. And so they should. It's very good. Look at this, 5 of my last 6 videos have been on the garden update. And it's not just me, everyone else has been getting in on the act, and why would you not? Now, I'm sure we all know that the most profitable time to play on a new update is when it first releases. Items that previously weren't demanded are now in massive demand, as demonstrated by this huge spike in price of enchanted cactus. Those who were clever enough and lucky enough to invest could now be billionaires. But for me, and for you who may have not been so lucky to invest, if we grinded for the correct things and just generally used our brains, we could definitely have profited massively, not just in coins but also in XP. Like I said before, the update's been out for roughly around about a week now. Within that week, prices for items have been all over the place, some massively increasing and some massively decreasing. Although at the end of the day, when the hype for an update dies down and items become more readily available, the prices drop. Just look at the price of the crappie. When the update first came out, they were 500k each. Now they are, well, 600 coins. What was initially an insane money-making method for us regular Skyblock players has now been completely crushed. But of course it makes sense, way more people now have the crappie armor set because there's way more crappies in circulation, therefore the price goes down and so on. Now this video here that I made 3 days ago, I basically compared some crops to other crops to see which would be the most profitable. And of course other creators had similar ideas. The bottom line is, the craziness of the prices, pretty much every crop was probably the most profitable at some point other than Nether Wars. Now, videos like I made and other creators made also contributed to, I guess, driving the prices of some crops down. This would have happened anyway, but this is just sort of a catalyst. Of course, who would turn down those sweet new update views? Couldn't be me. Now, I personally think that carrots have been neglected. I feel kind of sad for the carrots. Now, understandably, people have probably been predominantly mining other things like wheat or pumpkins or maybe even cactus. I mean, after all, this initial farm design isn't the greatest and not the most efficient at all. Now, I watched a bit of Zach Plays AN's video. I'm sure most people probably have at this point. I mean, look at this mega farm. Yeah, this honestly looks a little bit like rocket science. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a little test just to see if we can still efficiently sort of farm carrots even with the bog standard setup. Admittedly, when it comes to Skyblock, I'm pretty lazy. I'd prefer to pay to win something than grind it just because, well, I guess then I can do something that I enjoy. Now, I know when the update first came out, carrots were literally insanely good. No one else was farming them. Crappies were 500k each, and this was amazing. At this point, I'm not using melon armor. If I was to drop a crappie, it would be 500 coins anyway, so it's pointless. I'm going to see how effective this still is, just literally using this fairly bog standard hoe, rancher boots and 3/4 of crappie, and then also this elephant pet. My farming fortune stands at 558. So if you have higher or lower, you can always calculate what this would basically make you. But just before we do take a look, are you subscribed to the channel? Because if you're not, you should be. You should subscribe. And while I'm on the topic of plugging, you should join the Discord server, top link in the description. There's no reason not to. Anyway, carrots. Let's see how much they can make. Okay, so we farmed carrots for 5 minutes and we're going to times the results by 12. So we made 653k, which means we will make approximately 7.8 million coins per hour, which isn't too bad. You have to consider that's with a completely and utterly bog standard farm. I don't have a maxed out hoe, and my farming fortune is relatively low and it's only 558. Now, considering I did the same test with cactus just before this video, and that approximately comes out to around about 4.5 million coins per hour. My farming fortune with the cactus hoe actually remains at 558 as well. So I know this advice is probably sort of doing exactly what I was talking about earlier in the video, saying how people making videos ruin, I guess, money making methods. It's really not too bad. I mean, if you were sort of further into the game and you had a higher farming fortune, then obviously you would make more coins. Now, something else that I want to talk about is basically visitors, copper, and the Sky Mart, because well, I guess things have changed. I made a video a few days ago explaining how to best spend your copper from the copper that you receive from the visitors. Essentially, you invest in the visitors, they give you copper, farming XP, garden XP, all that good stuff. And with that copper, you can buy items from the Sky Mart. Now, when I did the test, basically the most, not the most profitable, but the most cost-efficient way of spending your copper would be to spend it on these Lotus bracelets. But since I made that video, the prices of these have dropped. To be fair, everything else has too. For example, it's 10 copper per enchanted book, the Sunder book. When I released that video, the Sunder books are over 1 million coins each for a Sunder 5, and now they're less than 500k. So this essentially means that, well, even though you are spending slightly less on the crops because the crops have gone down, you're also getting way less in return from items from the Sky Mart when you sell them in the auction house. Now that may lead people to think that it is basically just not worth, I guess, taking these visitors' offers. Now some of them are very, very expensive and probably not quite worth it. But if you're like me and you have coins and you're lazy and you want to basically just buy farming XP, or buy garden XP, it'd be a no-brainer sort of to leave them and let the offers go to waste. Now, 8 enchanted cactus for 271 copper, in my opinion, is quite expensive, but 40k farming XP, so I think it's worth it. What I'm basically trying to say is it isn't just the copper that you're using these visitors for, it's also your farming and garden XP. And garden XP, obviously you've got the milestones, but other than that, it's fairly scarce and difficult to come by. Now granted, these visitors don't give a massive amount of garden XP, but you get some garden XP and it also goes towards your visitor milestones. So I think there's a misconception, whereas basically, if it's too expensive and you're not going to get a lot of copper from it, people just ignore the order. And fine, you know, if you're on a budget, the budget isn't a massive issue for me, but if you're on a budget, then I can understand more. But anyway, enough about copper. As for the carrots, okay, if I can make like 7.8 million coins per hour, someone with double my farming fortune would make, well, somewhere around about 15 million coins per hour. This farm is not efficient. If you're making an efficient farm, you could probably still make over 20 million coins per hour, even though the prices have dropped. And of course, if you're farming that much carrot, you're also going to get a ton of farming XP, so it's a win-win. Anyway, let me know, what crop are you farming at the moment, or what are you doing on the garden? It'll be interesting to know, because I'm torn between trying to grind one of the milestones really high, because obviously you get more XP when you go higher into a milestone, or just getting like at least like 10 or 15 levels on the milestones of each individual crop. I don't know really what to do, man. I don't know what will be best. At the end of the day, we're probably going to have to take most of the crops quite far up the milestones anyway. And also, if I do sound a bit different in this video, I've got a bit of a sore throat. I'm just very tired. I'm actually, today, arrived back from San Marino, so that video will be going up relatively soon. Editing an IRL video is going to be interesting. It will definitely be a first for me because it's something I've never really done before. So hopefully it turns out okay. I'm sure it will. I don't know. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.